Ladies, gentlemen, and others in chat, welcome to another drawing stream. We will continue to establish good drawing habits and quickly review the notes from last week. Yeah, actually, last week's new week, new opportunities. Last week's stream. So, on the ellipsis, where we go from narrow to wide, like the note says, slow down and ghost. Okay, cool. Slow down and ghost. And the second exercise, straighten curve parallel lines, evenly spaced. We just gotta keep on practicing, chasing that Goldilocks zone. Rotate basic forms, 10 minutes. Focus on one shape. Instead of trying to spread out all evenly, trying instead to focus on one shape and get comfortable with it. Keep that consistent and in rotating it around. And then hop over to another. Once you sort of like, I don't know, start sprinkling, and maybe as we refine each shape, we can start to sprinkle, mix and match a little bit. Next one, with manipulating forms, where we bend them, we stack them, we subtract and intersect them. Use references. I've made some references earlier today, did my homework, slapped together some intersecting in particular. Intersecting, I haven't done any subtraction, but intersection of boxes and cylinders from different angles that we can use. So we could get that feedback loop of you try and most likely fail, or some degree of failure, and then you have a reference for the 10-minute review and correction section at the end. For the mannequin pose, oh right, and we need a mannequin reference as well. That is Pose archive. Let's just grab something. Yeah, why not? So as you can see, I already have something that I quickly slapped together in Blender. Nothing fancy. Oh, the most fancy is probably the line art feature that I put in, so you can better see the edges. And yeah, pay more attention to the weight carrying leg and better time management. And for the silhouette thing, spend more time on the silhouette and not focus so much on don't worry about the wrapping of the cross contour things. Don't worry so much about that. It's more important to get the silhouette as a whole down, and then in proper proportions, and then we can work on efficiency and better time management, and then we can start thinking about wrapping lines. Gradually amping up the difficulty. Right. So we need to find our timer. So now let's see if we can do. We're still gonna do the whole 3 minute. Let's see if we can slow down and So we're off for a very good start. See if we can spend all 3 minutes on one. Holy smokesy pants, this one is rough. Well, the good news is I am getting better. It just starts incredibly rough. Improvement is happening. It's... Oh, that was a dud, he says, and then he makes a complete dud. Yeah, because like that it isn't closely, it is partially related to that they aren't close like that. It is partially related to me not slowing down. And thinking things through, if I remember correctly from Drawbox. That was usually the indication when it came to the or the conclusion rather. Maybe I should try one at a diagonal, because that is my jam, basically. There's something that could be something. Now that looks better because like it's literally the third and last thing that I did, but it could be something. Okay. Straight and curved. You just gotta keep on practicing. Let's do some straights, get that out of the way. Okay. Some horizontal lines. To complement the jazz. And then the curved lines. Yeah. Just keep practicing, so. See if we can just start with some simple curved lines. Ooh. Sort of build our confidence, as it were. Maybe that wasn't necessarily the best best option. This one, this one. Yeah, I know that, like, the bigger the curve, the harder it is to, or the bigger the line, the harder it is to draw. But it's muscle memory. Whoa, that was a real dud. Okay. I see some improvement. But granted, some of these lines are harder than others, so. Okay. New layer, new opportunities. Rotate basic forms, and we're going to focus on just we're going to focus on just one form. So let us then start with the classic box. Oop. And see if we cannot keep it somewhat consistently in terms of size? Question mark. And just spin this one around, I suppose. It's an interesting way of turning the form. I'm afraid that it's getting sure if I'm it shrunk down in towards the middle there, but X, 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 X. Just to better demonstrate that it I think it might be easier if I try to draw the top plane. Maybe? And then just shrink down the sides, basically. I don't know. And then we'll just do the opposite, because now this one starts peeking up. Right? Okay, so this is the line, and it starts flapping in the wind. Ah, disappears. Okay. The purpose of this exercise is not necessarily to make something look pretty, it's just increasing your spatial awareness. So we essentially have something that is just something that I tend to forget because I gotta, it's gotta look pretty, it's gotta look good. And you sort of trying to get into the logic of like the what is the angle, pun intended, on the that was a horrible. It flattens even more, and then now here it's because here it, you know, this one basically. Okay. Design angle out, and then I suppose. Ah, my goodness. I get so caught up in the orientation of it that I lose the yeah, they definitely lose their proportions. Not that I'm gonna give up though, but it's just very, very rough. Like it starts very cubish and then becomes somewhere along the line it becomes a rectangle, and I'm like, what the heck? But anyway, I still have. Yeah, it's almost done. Trying to sort of tilting. There we go. We're getting there. All right. Manipulate. All right. So 2 of each. I think. Yeah, we can take one of each of these. 1 box and 1. So the way that I was thinking doing this is basically draw them as best as I can, and then looking at the reference. And then afterwards, during the review, I will sort of slide the reference images over and so on and so forth for comparison and see where I did wrong. Okay. So we might as well just start with these. So I see angle and another angle. Roughly speaking. Parallel. And if that one goes down like that, that one goes like that, parallel, parallel, parallel. And that one almost stops, and then that one goes out, and then up. Alright, and this might be a very kind of like backwards way of doing it, but yeah, this is not. All right, so what if we hang on? What if we just do it like this? This might be detrimental to me, but let's just do it like this. The references, because I go like, oh no, I have to copy it perfectly. Oh, stupid brain. It's not what you have to do. Okay. So the other one sits at an angle. And we don't need to necessarily need to draw all of it. We just need to draw some, only the lines we need, technically speaking. Something like that. Right? So let's put it there. This is, and then we have an insertion point here. It goes all the way up to that one. This one goes up like that, and that one goes up like that. And that means that we lose that. And on this layer, we lose that. It's not perfect, but it gives me something. All right. And here we have a box like such. All right. There's our box. And then we have a fairly... Ooh, that was a good looking cylinder, if I may say so myself. Right, I'm not sure if... it's fairly close. Like that. Now, it doesn't quite go out to the edge. So it'll be something like that, which basically means we will lose not all of it. Hang on. Because it does chip at it. Proportions are completely horrible, but basically we kind of lose that and we lose this. But subsequently we also lose this. Something like that. And we will just continue to practice our stacking. We're just going to do very simple. But it's important to have something like that. Okay. We can try and mix it up a little bit. Stacking. Then this one is sort of just resting underneath. Something like that. Yeah, that could work. And very different perspective orientation. Two stacking. Two intersecting. Oh, we need bending. We can have a box that really doesn't really feel like it's like that, you know, that squishiness that that you kind of get. Let's just see if we can twist. Twist it. All right, that is really twisting my brain. I don't know how to. So we can just a bent box, or attempted to. All right. These two can just move up. All right. Mannequin pose. Da, 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 da. Ten minutes. Kind of curious if I wanted to do like if I wanted to do experiment a little bit with like an alternative way, a more gestural way that I've kind of sort of like heard about. I'd be like, yeah, there we go. And just essentially just build up quickly and efficiently build up the information and then just like add to it. Right. And it's like just oh my god, just draw it, dude. Oh my goodness. I have no idea why would that be so hard? I have no freaking idea. Alright, so his shoulders are going that way, his hips are His hips are kind of leveled because like he's standing freaking still. Of course it is, so they're leveled. Fine, whatever. Did a little bit of the dog. Right, drawing through the form because why not? It's almost like is that the front of his leg? No, that's the back of his leg. So the front of the leg. Knee. Alright, and this stupid stick thing. It's much more gestural, I guess. Let's see if we can cook with this. Better. Communicated better. And just going over with the second pass. I don't know. Placeholder for the arm. And then we probably want the pinch to be here, bottom plane, top plane. Okay. To get that gestural vibe. Shoulder. Arm kind of just goes straight down and then come down, kind of like a low key comes out like that, and then like that. Doesn't have to be pretty, it just needs to be. It just needs to read well. Might be a bit too juicy for a placeholder for the staff, but whatever. Clean up so that it reads a little bit better. Nearly as confusing of what is turning which way. Look. It's actually a little bit too short. There we go. He's actually a little bit too short. Can I fix this by simply stretching him out? Kind of, almost. But like again, it's not necessarily by that much. So I could probably... I wonder if I could I salvage this by simply doing something as stupid as this. Maybe. Yeah. The big mistake seems to be the neck, because the moment the neck... Yeah, it's the neck. That's where the mistake is. The neck is what screws it up. Because things kind of align, the hips, like granted I tilt my hips much more, but like it sort of aligns, but once you sort of align the shoulders, it'll go like, yeah, so it's the biggest proportion problem could literally be resolved by just turning on the, but like, yeah, it has that, it retains its gesturality, I suppose, which is good. All right. And now, purely silhouette. And we'll just start with I like to start with a landmark that I go like, all right, I know that is in the right, correct place, if you will. Right, so we can just use some guidelines here and to better help us. I was thinking a little bit about the anatomy. Alright, so there's the wrist and there's the hand, and the hand kind of goes up out a little bit. Not by that much. That kind of stops right there. Again, is this cheating? I have no freaking idea. I think I'm going to just straight up ignore the staff for now and not I'm just gonna focus on the figure. That is way too narrow, methinks. Alright, so and then it goes up a little bit. It is a bit straight, and then it kind of goes straight, and then it curves out a little bit, and then inwards again, because that's where the arm pit is. And then from there, it curves up to about there. I'm so used to like drawing all the way up to the armpit, and I'm like, gotta think in, like, no, think in terms of silhouette. And course correct along the way. And see if we have better success with that. And we got the glutes, the butt cheeks. I kind of just, I'm just gonna turn that out. And that stops about there. And then you gotta angle it a bit. Out. Okay. Yeah. And then we have the heel. And then that. And that. That makes sense. No, it does not. It needs to be even further. Bit further down, and then that's a pretty dramatic turn, if I may say so myself. Yeah, and then it turns up, curves up here, and about here-ish. Yeah, there we go, and then okay, curves out, and then the heel is about there. It's kind of hard to see because it's. We put the heel there, and then it kind of. It's a fairly flat angle. Toe up. We'll just do that as a fairly. There's a slight curvature there. There's a bump for the knee, and then it goes a little bit up before it shoots outwards again. But almost straight up. And I think that gap there, it can't possibly be correct. That knee gap there is way too narrow. But let's see where we end up, chat. Can I? Okay, so it goes inwards a little bit, and then down, and then out, and then you have the shoulder about here-ish. Yeah. steepness of that angle is surprised me. There we go. And it goes down, and then you have the other. Is that about there? Yeah. Yeah. And it goes in a bit, and then it comes out, and about here-ish? Question mark? Yeah. And then you have, you know, like thumb and fingers, whatever. We'll just simplify that like that. Elbow. Where is the intersection? Is about here. Again, that. Okay, that angle can't possibly be right. Let's correct it while we're still here. Right. Gotta come on. Like, he's not exactly the biggest dude in the pond, but I think I like that. I'm not sure how much of this can be salvaged. Okay, like, it's not bad. It's just I was surprised. Go, like, look at that. That's pretty accurate. But like, mine is tilted a little bit too backwards. I struggle with the angles, but it's much better. I probably need to better. I'm not sure how to better do that. And how we're doing on time? 1 minute. So yeah, I spent some good time on this one. Good, fair amount of time, I dare say. I kind of just. I was kind of curious how did I do with the arm? Yeah. So we're narrowing it down, chat. We're narrowing it down. Maybe flipping it could help, and also like what's it called? I make this ground cross, right? But what if you can also do like this, right? Put like the outmost point to the outmost point, and you can use that as a reference. So sort of like to find sort of the relations between the different. That could be a thing we could try for our next session. All right, so we didn't have. I could probably put in like 1 or 2 cross contours, but like, I can see the progress. We're getting there, chat. We're getting there. Okay, so now it's time for our 10-minute review. This is week 3. Yeah, let's go to oh. Let's rip this. I'll just rip you out, but okay. So what do we do here, chat? Yeah. Try at an angle. Try at an angle. it's not necessarily because the wonderful thing about digital, especially if you're working with layers, is go like you can also do what is it? This you can rotate the canvas, or just use the transform tool as you've seen me do a couple of times to get things in position. It doesn't have to be rigid. As long as I like, the important thing is like I like that you create the illusion of seeing something in 3D. So try at an angle. That's one review. Okay. We can try that experiment. Try to find remedies for it. We are on track, but I might focus more on laxed curves. Focus on laxed curves. Let's see that. Focus. Laxed. And like sort of just trying to find my skill level and and adjust accordingly, basically. Okay. This one, we're getting there, but I'm not necessarily sure if we're going to need to do like a full grid of this thing. So try diff shape. Right, so that we are cycling through shapes. We're kind of basically doing more or less the same thing, but now tomorrow we might do cylinders, and we're just gonna go like rotate a cylinder that way and then rotate a cylinder that way and try to fill out the axes. Or we have our two axes and then we will try to fill out the middle and see how far we get. Right. This is going to be interesting. Let's see if we can get these suckers, these puppies to fit. Hang on, I got a sneeze coming. Pooey pants. Okay. So the angle is a bit wrong in the proportion. The angle for the box is a bit off, but like it's not a 1-to-1, but it's pretty gosh darn good. Like it captures the, I mean, maybe it's just me huffing and puffing the copium, but it captures the idea and it communicates it. Yeah, so I would say that one passes. Room for improvement, by all means, but like, yeah, okay, like the angles are pretty, pretty off. But again, yeah. The angles of the second box, the tilted box, is way outside of acceptable margins. The other one is much closer, but or it's a little bit too very foreshortened here. But yeah, it's the intersection still reads very well though, so it helps to have reference. Who would have thought? Stacking. Yeah. Bending could definitely use some work. Let's see if we can bend reference. Bend ref. So I'll see if we can get some bending references. I'm not entirely sure how to do that. We're probably gonna have to do a modifier or something. I don't know. We probably can do that. And with the intersections, we have some references here that we can. We already have other references that we can work our way through. Nice. Mannequin? Honestly, it's just I am on the right track, but again, proportions. It is a bane of my existence. Or like in isolation, it kind of, at least to my untrained eye, I go like, yeah, that checks out. But like when you sort of look at it and go like, but it's not. This isn't the worst because like a lot of it can be corrected simply by doing this. And all of a sudden, like, that the arms are not in the absolute correct position, or the legs aren't necessarily in absolute correct position. It's not necessarily super important. But yeah, proportions. There's something about me and necks that just go like, yeah, okay. And pretty much the same thing with Mr. Silhouette. Things are correct, they just don't. It's a reoccurring theme with me, like it's almost like a microcosm of my problems. The individual components fit correctly, but so like the head is correct, but the arms relative to the head is not correct. The shoulders are correct, but the shoulders are not correct according to one another. Like one shoulder is not correct to the other. The waist, the back of the waist is correct, and technically speaking, this part is also correct, but it's just, yeah, the proportions do not match. Very. And that is a that was and has been a reoccurring problem with mine for a long time. So we're just going to type proportions times 2, basically. Or hang on, where's my eraser? There's my eraser. I would like to try, or we can do proportions times 2, but let's do the cross. Cross. I'm not sure what that is called, but Andrew Loomis suggested it. It was like that you have one that references a cross that sort of shows your figure, whatever the heck it is that you're drawing, will not be higher. This is the maximum length and this is the maximum width of it. Alternatively, you can put a frame around it that you sort of like, I don't know, do something like this. All right. And we go like, all right, here's my thing, and I need to draw within that. I could do that too, try a box instead of the cross proportion box or frame. Let's do that instead. I think that might be proportion cross box. Yeah, because again, it is about finding your finding your skill level and add what Broken Draws calls scaffolding, you know, tools that will help you, and then add or remove guidance tools as needed to help you. But I really need to take a toilet break, so I'll be right back, chat. Don't touch that dial. And we're back with some more horsing around action. Let's see. Where are we, chat? Oh, we were here. This is panel 6, right? The sketch for panel 6. Right, because we're going for the horse. I really like. I was surprised of how well that pose kind of checked out, but I'm a little bit I'm a little bit concerned about like how his, because there he's clearly holding on to the horse's mane, so to speak, as it's running. So I'm not entirely sure how to. And again, I'm go like that's what we're going for, right? Yeah. Okay. So we'll just continue drawing, I guess. So it kind of just goes like this, like I would assume, something like that. But instead, he was sort of like, he would bend his his right arm, bend his elbow so that he can reach the hang on. I'm a little bit worried that my mic keeps spiking. Oh. Let's try that. Yeah, that looks much better. Hello? That looks much... Oh. I think I had that one like 2. Let's leave it at 2.5. Yeah. We don't want it to spike up into the red. Anyway. Let's just leave this. Search. And then not that it matters very much, but okay. Yeah, let's just go with the horse, I guess. That's how. Yeah, that just goes. Where is my horse? That reference. Thank you. Okay, well, I can modify it a little bit. We don't have to follow it exactly. Right. And then I guess we can just to better show the three-dimensionality of these are separate forms. We could just do it like that. Okay. And do they arch that, or do they only if it's like arching its neck? Because if it's like standing, okay, now it's we'll give it a slight arch, something like that. I am generous like that. A slight arch. that line needs to be a bit thicker to show the line hierarchy. There we go. And I suppose we could just so if we then remove our horsey reference, whee! Thank you for your service. We have a page that looks like this. And I'm honestly, again, tempted to continue with my speedline hack. Which is parallel ruler. And we can just go snap to assistance. Right, now we can just some really small ones. And then medium ones. I mean, I guess it doesn't matter too much. Something to that effect. I would assume. We can throw you into the trash. Oh. And we can sort of just clean this up a little bit so that our sketch reads well. It's important. Wow. Not necessarily getting too overly invested at making it super clean, but there we go. Something like that, maybe. Even cut that one off a little bit. There we go. We collapse that one down. And we apply that. Look at that. That's a speedy line. A speedy ones that if I ever saw one. It's more of just an indicator I want those speed lines there. And again, there isn't like much how to say dialogue in these pages, these two pages. It's just like, again, maybe he will just like, oh, he might go like, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, or something like that. Sound effects of running hoops, and again, huffing and puffing. But we're trying, let's see if we can effectively communicate without words. It's a cool shot. and I like it. But it's 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 a doozy one. And because there's so much detail. And I was like, I'm like, the details kind of make the shot. Right. And I should like... to... like, alley. Maybe if I look at alley drawing, maybe get some inspiration that way. Decided to break a plan. Keep things untidy. Alright. Ow! Some good pointers there, but... yeah. Alright, well, let's see what we can come up with, because I was kinda hoping to like do this. Well, it might be a bit too much for the sketch stage, but I was kind of hoping to just turn on panel 4, flip it over here instead, and turn off the thumbnail layer so we don't... there we go. Wrong brush, but that's okay. Come on. There we go. The plan. My brilliant, kind of like, I sort of want like just big blobs of blackness with some white lines to sort of show that, oh yeah, there are some whatchamacallit, some stuff in this stuff going around. It's a one way of like basically a two values. It's got like I have the white page and black ink, and that's all that I have to work with. Of course, the important thing is not to get lost in the woods, in the details, to over render it. Find that balance between it. So let's see if we can. This is a useful exercise because let's see if we can break it down. I think we tried this, and actually it might even be better if I just use a hard brush for this. Just break it down. So something like this. Right. It would be something akin to that. Maybe we'll actually do like this. Right. And it's a good I would, not that I know a lot about composition, but like, of course, it is a reference that's doing all the heavy lifting. But I'm kind of just curious of just going with a lot of different kind of like sort of like just I don't know, just the vibe of it all. And it's just a lot of, how do you say, clutter. Without necessarily over cluttering it. Yeah. And I suppose we could do the whole. Alright, we need to collapse that down. Now we can do the erase and just go like, alright. And now we're kind of like almost going into like rendering territory here, but let's see if we can. And that's also the danger, like you're in that zoom level and you go like, nobody's gonna see that. Get out of here. Nobody's gonna see that. Like that. I don't know. Yeah, we're getting into rendering territory, but basically something like this, right? And you're just gonna go to town and render the crap out of this. And I suppose similarly, you're gonna have like your box right here, right? And then of course you would have like art. Right, like that, and you go like out. Right, and then you even have like tiny little something. Right, so to just communicate that, go like, oh yeah, there's a box here. There's another box standing here, and then you know we have another one that really shoots in front of this one, overlapping. Of course, my perspective is all janged up, but who knows? Maybe there's a bit of a lid here, something. I don't know. I'm spitballing here, chat. But yeah, like you get the idea. I might just leave it like that, and because like that is a rendering job of biblical proportions. But yeah, he sees a way out, basically. That's the important thing. Yeah. That is a good plan, chat, if I ever saw one. Oh. Where does that leave us, chat? That leaves us with still a little bit on the fence with what is it? This one? Yeah. Panel, no, not 4, 5, 3. Panel 3. I'm a little bit on the fence with that one. Primarily because like I I'm not necessarily opposed to the pattern that I picked, but I might be opposed to the whole putting it in perspective, like a tilted perspective like that. Yeah. And that torso neck thing there, like, it bugs me, but I have no idea. Right? Because he's arching backwards. But at the same time, it's not a flat plane. You know, because the rib cage always tilts. Right? Because the relationship is like you have the rib cage go like this and then the pelvis like that, right? That is the pelvis and then rib cage. That is sort of like the default configuration if you're looking at it in profile. All right, you have your head here, right? Because you want to have a balancing thing here. It's a bit exaggerated, but that's sort of the default. And when he is sort of like leaning to show that he is arching his back, it would be, you know, you would see a little bit of the bottom plane, and then he would be arching back. And then logic sort of dictates this, go like, yeah, well then you don't see the top plane, and you have the shoulder here. Like, this is really hyper exaggerated, but whatever. So then you kind of go like, all right, well, how do you attach the head to that? It's sort of like something, just leave it like that, I guess. What is he doing? Oh, it's kind of like almost like just 90 degrees up. Doesn't hurt to redraw something on it. There you go. And then, of course, you get a twist in it. You're like, oh yeah, he's twisting his torso, so you can get that. I mean, yeah, like, you got some twisting action going on here. It goes like that, and then it twists. Whack. Probably something like that. I don't know. And you might want to even tilt this, of course, because... Or tilt it that way, probably. Because he's arching backwards. You have to stretch here, and the compression there. Boom. That is a very exaggerated version of this gentleman here. But yeah, it's not even that off, really. Anyway. Um, try not to let the perfectionist thing get to me. So where does that leave us, chat? It leaves us with this wonderful inking, I guess. That's the only one that yeah. And this looks kind of dull, but high speed is like, I don't know. Yeah, and the proportions of that thing of his, yeah, it needs to be much bigger. But that's okay. That is okay. But the big question is, like, it's more, again, like, this is more like a workflow thing. Like, do I sketch everything? Like, do I finish a page completely, or do I... I'm not sure. I'm generally not sure. Because this is then... We have page 3, which is this one. That horse looks terrible. But anyway. Like, yeah. Because I have... Yeah. Maybe we should... Let's try... Like, okay, let's just experiment a little bit, chat. This is what we... This is the main purpose of the project, after all. Let's just see... Let's just sketch our way through all 7 pages. And then we're gonna go back and we're gonna ink those 7 pages. And then for like the exposition segment, which is 8 pages, when things have calmed down, we can look at then we can try the whole sketch a page, thumbnail a page, thumbnail all the pages, so that we have a rough idea of where we're going, and sketch a page, ink the page, sketch the next page, ink a page. That sounds like a plan. And then, because then I have something to compare it with, and I go like, essentially just trying different workflows. See what we can find, what works. We have a plan, chat, which is more than All right. So basically, how many panels? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we also probably also need. Okay, we can close you, and we will close this one as well. All right, so panel 1, panel 2, panel 3, panel 4, and lastly, panel 5. All right. Now I'm just gonna take all of this and place it, roughly speaking, there. And take all of this and move it, roughly speaking, over here. Nice. And panel 3, I'm gonna take you and place you, roughly speaking, there. Panel 4, I'm gonna take you, place you down here, respect the Z. Yeah. I suppose we can just place that corner over there. And let's go with the mask tool. All right. Now I think actually need to put the. There we go. This is better done with a mouse, methinks. Oh, that is an interesting little twist. Didn't know we could do that. I really don't like that you can't perfectly align these, but it is what it is. Nope, that's not what I wanted. Boom. Uh-huh. Go. Something like that. And panel 5. Kind of curious, can we... Let's see. What are those called? Break a point, break into segment, merge point, and align vector point. Oh. Shift S. Oh, right. Oh, that might. Yeah, because now it's a little bit more. Is it aligned? No, now it's misaligned. What? I am confused. That one looks fairly straight. So why can't you two guys be straight? Okay. Okay. Yeah. Because then they are aligned. That one is aligned and that one is aligned. Straight, straight. Straight. Right? I think it is. Alright. Alright. said my. Ah, pooey pants. This one's a little bit too low. There we go. Straight. Not exactly the most exciting content, but... Da, da, da. And again, if you want high-octane streams, you kind of on the wrong channel, not gonna lie. Alright, I think we have a reasonable panel layout, chat. Here's my stylus, Yeah, okay. Now, if we want to think about compositional wise, but like the head is the focal point, so isn't that roughly speaking thirds? Yeah, I think so. So it's not necessarily the worst position for him to be in. Okay, let's see if we can sketch this dude out and go like, yeah, okay, so we have one shoulder up here, we have a center line, and we have another shoulder down here. And we have a pelvis. And we have a stretch this way and a pinch that way. And his arm is going this way. The other way, that way. And his head is probably way too... Thinking about what his what we learned from our study session. Let's just bring his arm out here and then up there. Right. Let's see if we can make some sense out of this madness that I cooked up. Probably not, but whatever. Torso. Pelvis. I'm not sure if I can get away with that. No, I can't get away with that. Hooey pants. Because like, yeah, we can have that angle, but we also need, or, well, it would be this angle then. Yeah, it might be a bit of a too extreme. Yeah, that's a bit too extreme. Like, I want to tilt the box, tilt the pelvis forward, but at the same time, I also want to like have it pinch. So I'm trying. Give me a cube, a kingdom, my kingdom for a cube. There we go. So it needs to pinch that way and also tilt forward that way. Okay. So yeah, we'll just something like this to just really show the sure if this is a good idea. I think I'm getting too hung up on what's on the thumbnail layer, to be honest, which was just something that I right, which is a bit weird because like this is sort of like the top, this is top, and this is the side, and this is the front. That's what I'm thinking, at least. And again, shoulder, arm, Methinks. No. Can I? I need a reference. Running. Corn. Better spelling might help. Maybe running side view. Maybe I can find something that way. Oh, that one was close, but not. How to run fast. It's close, but it's a bit annoying because like you sort of like and again maybe so you end up like looking for the quote-unquote perfect reference. Alright. That is a bit annoying. Let's see if we can figure this one. No, not that way. With good old... it's just a sort. Maybe that one's not so good. And do we have a running pose? That's like low-key kind of what I wanted. Huh. Okay, I maybe can we? But he's all right. Yeah, well, it's a he's balancing his hand because like there isn't that much of a. Rotates that way, but how do you? Oh, middle click. That makes not much sense, but okay. Yeah, that pushes the pose better. Of course, then the big question is, get out of here. Please come back to me. There we go. No. It's a bit like... Maybe we could change it like this. Then trying to think. Let's see. Screenshot. Let's capture a selection. Let's just do it like this. I'm not gonna say that. I'll say that on the desktop. And then we need to navigate to the desktop, and then we're gonna take the image and we're gonna drag it in as a reference image. It's very different from yeah. Okay, yeah, I noticed that. That's not gonna work. But I can mirror it. Or can I? Or should I? That's just symmetry. Yeah, because like I want him to... Well, that kind of makes sense. Right, because he... Gotta think about continuity here, chat. Continuity. Yeah, because I want him to run so that when like he is like everything is facing the direction, right? So if he suddenly, because that goes against yeah, that goes against, like now he's facing the against the reading direction, and we can't have that, chat. So but he needs to round the corner on his right side, which basically means we need to have him, yeah, but we can do this instead. That is probably better. Screenshot maybe. Hang on. Are we back? Ah, pooey pants. I have no idea how much I missed. Well. Hopefully, it will just resume the same stream. God dang it, OBS. Or I don't know, Linux maybe. Alright, here we go. We do something like this. Hang on, I'll be right back. Alright. Seems like OBS crashed on me, so hopefully things will be... Not sure if... Looks like it manages to, at least on the YouTube side of things, manage to stitch things together. Thank goodness I don't have like 3K people watching me in live, because like I would have caught it and I've probably seen it in chat because like, oh no, technical issues. But okay. Could be related to running multiple things from Steam. But anyway. We have our reference, so let's just go with it, I guess. And let's just map this bloke in. Alright. There we go. Something like that. Bam! Look at that. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Something akin to this. Okay. Let's just do it like this, I guess. I remember back in the day, I really struggled with getting the shoulder to work, but or the shoulder connection with the arms. But now it seems like that's not necessarily too much. It's still bit of a challenge, but not gonna lie, but it's also like, if you want to follow the perspective, you know, the box is kind of like this, I guess. Like, oh yeah, well, just draw a box, and then everything just magically resolves itself. Spoilers, it doesn't, but whatever. Like, it looks wrong, but like, again, I don't know. Screw it, don't think about it. Don't think about it. Don't think too much about it. Alright. It will just make my head hurt. And I notice that I am getting very hungry, so... which is also not good. Most likely because I'm getting hungry because my brain is on overdrive. Trying to figure stuff out. All right. Just delete that. Delete that. Too much about the proportions, or I worry about the proportions, but not necessarily the thickness of the limbs or whatever. Don't necessarily get too bogged down in those kind of proportions, at least not yet. Right. So. Yeah. Like, no wonder I was struggling to get the poses to work with this one. I was like missing one set of one set of controllers. But anyway. just... And then the whole leg kind of just goes down that way. And this leg goes down that way. And I don't have to worry about the knees because I cut them off at the panel. Right. Oh my goodness. That is a... Oh. You gotta do something about that chin, or rather the absence of chin. Like, holy smokes, pants. Yeah, something like that. Alright. Alright. Right. Something like that. He rounds the corner. Or am I going to sit here and seriously think that the original idea is better? Because, like, the more I look at this, the more I don't like it. Like, the more I look at it, the more I like the... Well, let's put a pin on that one, chat. See if we can get this. The title of today's stream is Horsing Around, so let's see if we can figure out this horse. It's a horse that looks to the right. Can I? If I go to the previous, can I then copy paste a reference? Oh, okay, that one remembers that. Okay, nice. Because I would like... Huh? I can. No, it comes in pooey pants. It comes in as a... It doesn't come in as a reference layer. It comes in as a layer. Hang on. There's that. There's this. No, I can't. God dang it. Krita, why do you gotta be so stubborn about this? I thought I could just drag and drop it into another window, but I can't. Well, there goes that idea. Can we dig it up? Horse. Horse drawing, probably. This one's pretty cool. Do I have another one? Oh, I have this one, which is good enough, I guess. Oh. I don't think it has the one that I'm looking for though, with not quite. But it will do. It will have to do. Because what I'm after is kinda like it's a that is a shoulder area, main body. Right, so again, I'm not sure if the size is going to be and it's like a top plane like that, and it's probably going to be a bit wider at the bottom. Right. I'm not sure about this angle, but let's just see what we get, chat. Let's just see what we get. Right. And maybe not that big of a deal, question mark. And it's also a little bit, you know, a little bit like that. Alright, so if you then have horse head, I don't know, something like that. And this one has one. Big horse neck, like that. To do the bend, which we have, you know, diligently practiced in our study sessions. Actually, I don't think that it would bend that. I think it would just, instead, I think it would bend much closer to the edge, because it's just so big and chunky at the base. Right, and then the horse head is kind of low-key sitting kind of like attached to it like such, overlapping forms, yeah. Something like this. Patch it up. Horse is just kind of like Oh no, he's looking at me menacingly. Top plane of the horse head. The horse head's face, I guess. And then the front. I'm not sure if this is proportional. I have no idea, but here we are. Making up stuff as we go. Yeah. Something like that. I mean, it has that three-dimensionality to it. I will give it that. Like, it's a lot of planes of the head and so on and so forth. It's kind of like, and the legs are kind of like just right at the base here. Right, so you put one leg here, and it kind of just, and it tapers, because of course it does. Right, and then it's a cylinder, so it kind of goes like that. I just go like beveled boxes, cubes plus bevels. I'm gonna like, I ain't doing that, but we can. But what I am doing, we can just do a very, very simple. We can do a very, 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 very simple box here. Not gonna lie. Alright. Then just do something like that. Alright. That perspective kinda checks out, I guess. It's not beveled, but holy crap. Alright, so you have a box there. I'm just trying to do something, you know, dynamic with this one. All right. And I said, like, if that leg is raised, then it kind of just, to make it a little bit more dynamic and interesting, that leg also tapers down. And of course it has like a little baby cylinder. Here, that kind of just goes across like such. And I need a new layer. Because of course I do. There we go. Not sure if that perspective checks out, but probably not, but and that bothers me. Ah, whatever. Well, what if we just keep it simple, stupid, and just do like, boom. I could also just lower the whole horse so I don't have to draw the feet. That's always a valid strat. I guess if that leg is raised and this one becomes a bit more weight carrying, so it becomes a bit more flat like this. Something like that. Anyway, let's see if we can try and get this gargantuan middle section here to work for us. And that one also just doesn't necessarily kind of goes down like that, so we can why did I have to pick the one with that was on a horse? Oh. I suppose you. That's how we learn. And if I want to do some isekai, furry fantasy stuff later, I'm probably gonna have to draw a lot more horses, so. Buckle up, I guess. Buckle up, me. Okay. It kind of just but it does like curve upwards like that a little bit. Wait, what? Did the time finally come that my... Yeah, looks like it. Battery on my numpad died. My portable numpad. Do I have extra batteries? A lot of technical issues today, chat. One moment. And we're back. I didn't have batteries, so... let's see. I suspect that this is too long for a horse. Well, because if I'm going for something akin to that, I'm gonna go like, yeah, it needs to be like half that. Which basically means it. Like this part here needs to be like, yeah. Don't you just love it when you realize you made such a blooper? All right, let's see if we can salvage this then. Something like that, I suppose, and then... Still doesn't look right. But in quarters. Oh. It's just one big curve basically. But it might. And Yeah, that's way too. That's way too massive, chat. But like I like the head and neck. Oh, yeah, it kind of just goes again, just to show how dependent I am of references. Yeah, and I figured out that yeah, we can't flip references. Okay, so yeah, there's one measuring unit for that, and the other one is like 2. There's 1 here, and there's 2 units there, and 1 plus 1/4 on the other one. So that is a measuring unit. And I go like, I don't think that, no, that was 1. It's close to it, but it still looks too tube-like, and I think it is because like it doesn't. It doesn't, right? It doesn't, because the corner of this one is here, so it doesn't fully connect, right? Because the corner it should like. Go something like that, and maybe stretch it out a little bit. Something like that, I think. That is the... can we... I'm gonna trim this sucker down all the way down like that. Alright, because then we know that that line will connect and kind of like patch it up into there. And then we can go down to our sketch layer and we can get rid of this. And that kind of helps, but it still looks... Again, I'm not entirely sure how much of that box, how much of the box for the rear end would be visible if, when we put our rider on top. That I don't know. What is that? That is a horse. Can I find that? I don't know. It's a very... I end up falling down the rabbit hole here. Horse looking to the right. Uh, it's one of those things like when you don't know your... And it is the... Riding a bison. Just when you thought you'd seen everything. She is... either super tiny or that is a gargantuan horse. But anyway. Close, but it's also probably... Why did I have to put... Oh, never mind. Now I'm just looking at a bunch of horses. And close, but it's a back view. Gosh darn it. It is a front view, but it's from the wrong height. It's one of those things like, do you look around for like the quote-unquote perfect reference, or a reference that's close enough, or do you just grab a bunch of references and extract some visual information from the different references? But again, yeah, I genuinely feel like it's like, what if we try this? Like, shorten it even more. It kind of looks more. That looks a bit more correct. I say as if I have any inkling of what the heck a horse is supposed to look like from this angle. I don't know. I don't know my horse proportions. Are you creating me? I don't know my horse proportions. We are definitely horsing around now, chat. If we weren't horsing around before, we're definitely doing it now. I'm so funny. Like and subscribe for more absolute peak entertainment, I guess. Anyway. Yeah, I should definitely probably call it quits soon. And... well, I mean, it kind of checks out. Except, like, it also needs to have a little triangle for a reason. Probably to differentiate the hind legs, something like that. All right, well, let's just put it there. And then from this angle, I don't think we can just keep it very simple and just do like that. And yeah, we will literally just do that, chat. And we will just sculpt on the inside. And of course, it is all on one layer. But that's okay. This is just a sketch. It is but a sketch, so... I mean... Okay, let's... Because it's not... Like, it is a gap. They do mention that it is... Like, it goes in, but it doesn't go in that dramatically. Like, holy smokes and pants. So let's see if we can try and remedy that and fix that. All right, so if we leave it something like that, and then just trim away the excess from the inside, right? And we have something like that. Project-based learning. Okay. Well, it certainly makes it chunkier. I'll give it that. All right. There we go. I mean, there's some foreshortening action going on here, but like, it's certainly a heck of a lot better. Right, and the hind legs, they're kind of just like big chunky cylinders that kind of just sockets right into the two bottom planes there. Kind of makes sense that it does. This one does need the top line here, probably needs to sink down a bit more, methinks. Right, so if I, yeah, I can see it. I see the vision, chat. I see it. There we go. And I suppose we could just... Yeah, well, we'll just continue that line until those things two merge. That's fine. That's fine. As frustrating as it is, it's kind of fun. It's problem solving, but it is frustrating at the same time. But hey, I'm learning and I'm improving. I can feel my brain leveling up. Okay. Can we... So the hind legs, don't we have it in like just... Yeah. Yeah. So we kind of like going for that kind of a vibe. That's an oval and egg. Okay. Well, we're definitely gonna need a template for this one. How do they're kind of straight on the front. And obviously we don't want tangents. So we're just gonna move that in a little bit. Just a smidge. And on the back, it starts almost at the corner, but then it's sort of like collapses inward, so it kind of curves like this, I would assume. Kind of, maybe a little bit. Maybe. Right, and of course we have a... There we go. There's one leg. I'm not sure what the correct standing position here with the horse legs are, so we're just gonna frickin' wing it. And of course it needs to taper down to a fairly small one. I don't know, something like that. The egg for that one. A little bit of, you gotta have some overlap form action for that extra three-dimensionality. Okay, well, all right. And then, of course, more cylinders. I don't need to do any. I don't need to do any rotating cylinders during warm-up study session. I just draw horse legs. And the worst part is when I'm half-assing it like this, it's gonna come back and bite me in the butt. I just know it. And frickin' hell, man. I do not know, but something like that. That is probably some incredibly horrible horse legs, but it looks like it has like a wide Bambi on ice stance. Not gonna lie. But I do like the general pose. Like, sure, it might need to be refined up the frickin' bazoo. And I also like the it looks like the shoulder chest piece, like this block here, needs to be even lower, right? Because yeah, that corner, but that corner also goes like there, and it's like, yeah. But yeah, my brain is melting and I'm hungry, so we're gonna call it there, chat. we're gonna pick up it tomorrow, 6 p.m. So until then, thank you so much for stopping by, watching. Sorry about the tech issues. Keep drawing, keep having fun. I'll see you soon. Bye bye.